All right, chat. How many of you guys remember this streamer, DrWitnesser? We've covered them a couple times on this channel before. One of the first times I ever covered them was in relation to them. Basically, what they do is they're like a Christian streamer who preaches the word of God through Fortnite or other video games. Okay, they will stream the games and they'll record themselves streaming the games, or they'll live stream themselves streaming the games. And during the gameplay, they will essentially, preach to people in the game, and they'll talk about like various different topics. And like they really came to notoriety when they got banned on Twitch for telling a Muslim kid who sounded like he was like 10 years old max in Fortnite, telling him he was going to go to hell. Okay, that got him banned from Twitch. He eventually got unbanned, but he later also sparked controversy because he was going into like Fortnite games and talking to kids about gender and trans people and stuff like that, and really oddly talking about young people, or talking with young people in game about people's genitals and stuff. It was really odd. Okay, but we've covered him a couple times on this channel, and he's kind of in the news again today because of some tweets he made and also a video he made, which we're going to take a look at. Now, we would look at the tweets directly off his Twitter, but DrWitnesser is not the biggest fan of the tipster, okay? Oh, shit! Oh, shit! Not the biggest fan of the tipster. He blocked me quite some time ago. But I was able to get some screenshots of the tweets in question. I tweeted this out with Little Bro out here being DrDisrespect's biggest defender. Let's take a look and let's see what he has to say. We have this quote tweet here from the Drama Alert account. Twitch admitted DrDisrespect didn't sex a minor internally. DrDisrespect claims, did the former employee lie on Doc's name? To which he responds, I've been saying the Twitch employees were lying. Lying Twitch employee video 1, lying Twitch employee video 2 at DrDisrespect. He's got to get that attention and that love from the Doc. Okay, he's very clearly trying to get Doc's attention and get him to recognize him. Notice me, senpai, right? So we also have this one. We saw the video that was making the rounds on social media about Dr. Lupo kind of giving his thoughts on the situation. Dr. Lupo blasts DrDisrespect and his fan base, to which DrWitnesser responded, Dr. Lupo is in the hand of Twitch. He loves them and is super left progressive. It's not surprising. L take. So not being fond of supporting someone who is, in the DMs chatting up minors, admitting to doing so and doing so inappropriately. That's an L take, okay, if you're not fond of that sort of thing, according to DrWitnesser. The hatred and jealousy that Dr. Lupo and other streamers have for DrDisrespect is so obvious. So he's like really riding hard for the doc. Lots of doctors here. I mean, if you've ever seen DrWitnesser's like videos or his streams, he definitely is like a Christian imitation of like DrDisrespect, or he tries to be anyway. Like he has the whole like green screen background where it looks like a giant screen behind him and stuff. Like he's really trying hard to like do a Christian spin on DrDisrespect. So it doesn't surprise me that he's defending him. He then tweeted out this, the unhinged, hate-filled lies of Dr. Lupo and the rest of the Twitch streamer community against DrDisrespect. Video here. Gotta love the thumbnail, by the way. An outline of a purple dog shitting on Dr. Lupo's head. That's kind of clever, I don't know if I was a Christian, I would probably follow the teachings of Christ and not defend rapists, but I guess that's just me. Yeah, like, I don't know if, like, if I were a religious person, I don't know if I would be defending someone who admitted to being inappropriate in DMs with a minor. But, that's just me. Maybe I'm the odd one out here. So, we got the video here. Dr. Lupo lies, spews unhinged, hate-filled rant about DrDisrespect. So, let's just dive into it. Let's see what this fucking clown has to say.
Did I hear the news about DrDisrespect? I saw his stream on Friday. What I think is absolutely crazy with this whole DrDisrespect situation is like Dr. Lupo and other streamers like coming out and bashing this guy for his side, basically.
I mean, I feel like that's like the common sense thing to do. If you put out a statement on social media. Well, first of all, you're being accused of having inappropriate interactions with a minor in DMs, okay? That's what the doc's being accused of, okay? I feel like it's a pretty common sense response to look at that and say, you know what? Yeah, that's bad. We should call that out, and we shouldn't allow someone to just, stroll back into their social media platform with a massive following, many of which are children. We probably shouldn't welcome them back with open arms. I'd say that's a pretty common sense take.
Like, you have to be brain dead to sit there and say Dr. Disrespect admitted that he talked to a minor in a extreme manner, which is not at all what he admitted at all.
Oh, he's playing the word semantics game. He's basically saying, oh, he didn't admit to talking to a minor, sexually. He said that he was talking to a minor in a way that leaned towards inappropriate, because that's, if I remember correctly, pretty much the wording that Dr. Disrespect used himself. Here's the problem with that. Do you really think somebody who was being involved in sexually charged conversations with a minor would fucking admit to it? Let's be real here for a second. You're at the risk of losing your entire career, okay? Because of these allegations. Do you think that person is going to openly admit, like, yeah, I sexted with a minor? That's something that absolutely... Of course not! There's no way in hell they would ever admit to something like that. So, of course, they're going to try and, downplay it a little bit. Like, yeah, I was talking to a minor. And yes, the conversations, they were leaning towards inappropriate. But I didn't sex them. Of course, he's going to say that. What?
People are read his tweet, and he says, sometimes the conversation would lean in the direction of being inappropriate.
Yeah, he's playing word semantics.
He didn't admit that they were inappropriate. He didn't admit to, quote unquote, sexting a minor at all. He just said that they were going to be leaning in the direction. Not that he did not admit that they were inappropriate. He said that they leaned in that direction.
Okay, even if we were going to be charitable to the doc and say, okay, they weren't sexual in nature, all right? Granted, I don't believe that, okay? Because the action Twitch took would seem really extreme if that wasn't the case. But let's just lend a little bit, for the sake of argumentation here, some charitability that, okay, they weren't sexual. Twitch clearly felt that they were still inappropriate enough to justify banning him. And the interesting thing is, they went to court on it, or they were going to go to court, and they ended up settling out of court. If what Doc did was so innocent, okay, and Doc was able to defend himself in a way where they decided, okay, we're going to settle, we're going to pay you out the rest of your contract, etc., why wasn't one of the terms of the settlement unbanning him? Oh, Twitch fucked up. They made the wrong call. Unban him, right? Part of the settlement was not unbanning him. He is still banned on the platform. And whatever happened was still bad enough that they determined a ban was worthy. So even if it wasn't necessarily sexual in nature, it was still bad enough to result in a ban. So why are you defending this guy?
And he also
Which, by the way, I don't believe that. I do believe, considering we know around that same time he was cheating on his wife, considering we know around that same time he was sliding in the DMs of multiple women, considering we know around that time he was sliding in the DMs of a trans sex worker trying to get free content out of her, considering those factors, I don't buy this it wasn't sexual in nature stuff. I believe it was.
I did not sexting a minor. And he said in his stream that the person was over the age of consent. Everybody in the comments.
Very careful wording. Notice that Doc didn't say this person wasn't a minor. He said that they were over the age of consent. To all the idiots in the crowd who are watching this, because I know Dr. Disrespect fans will show up in the comments. They showed up on my last video. For all the idiots in the comments section who are here to defend the doc, you realize that someone can be above the age of consent and still be a minor. Do you think it's appropriate for somebody in their mid-30s, for example, because there's a lot of places where 16 years old is the age of consent. Just because something's legal doesn't mean it's not immoral. And do you think it's appropriate for somebody who at the time was 35 years old to be engaging in inappropriate conversations with somebody who's only 16? Of course not. Of fucking course not. Yeah, private companies will do what is most beneficial to their shareholders. So even if Doc didn't commit a crime, it still met a threshold to terminate his contract. Absolutely, Camel Spider. Absolutely. That's exactly my point. Even if it wasn't sexual in nature, even if you're willing to loan that level of credibility to the Doc, whatever he did in those DMs was bad enough that they felt that they needed to terminate his contract and ban him from the platform permanently.
On TikToks and YouTube videos are like, yeah, but he admitted it though. He admitted it. He admitted to sexting a minor. He admitted it. Are you brain dead? He did not admit that at all. He said, did he say the conversations were inappropriate? No, he did not even admit that. He said they would lean in the direction of being inappropriate. Does that mean they are inappropriate? No.
This guy, I'm convinced that this guy just wants clout. Okay, he just wants attention from the Doc, and he wants to get clout for being a contrarian. I'm convinced that's what's happening here.
It would lean in that direction. Completely different. And here you have Dr. Lupo, the dog of Twitch. Literally, Twitch has a chain and a leash, and the collar is around Dr. Lupo. Dr. Lupo is their child, even though he went to YouTube, he went back to Twitch. He's like, oh, let's beat cancer together, Twitch, yeah. And like, he sits there and literally says, oh, DrDisrespect wanted to solicit a minor for sex. Like, he said it like it was a fact. He said it like it was a literal fact when that wasn't even in the Twitter, and that's not even what he said. This Twitch employee, Cody Rhodes, who was lying through his...
Cody Rhodes? You mean the wrestler Cody Rhodes? What? Is DrWitnesser a wrestling fan?
Not Cody Rhodes. Cody Connors, who was lying through his teeth, said that. And Dr. Lupo and other people choose to believe this Cody Connors guy over a cryptic tweet. Like, and it blows my mind too.
I mean, I'd believe somebody who was a former employee at Twitch, and keep in mind, he's also not mentioning the other Twitch employees that came forward as part of I think it was the Rolling Stones article. There were other Twitch employees that came forward anonymously, and they're like, yes, these are things that we know about the situation. This is what we know that happened, etc. So notice he's conveniently leaving out those Twitch employees. He's just focusing on Cody Connors, so he can kind of downplay it even more for the Doc, play defense for the Doc even more.
It really blows my mind. I saw an article where the article was like, oh, well, DrDisrespect with no evidence says this about his case and yada, yada, yada. Did you not mention the no evidence that Cody Connors did? And he just...
Lady Zubat said, hey, Tipster, I have a question. Doc said he's able to talk about what happened because Twitch violated their terms of the agreement. Would that still count if the employee is no longer with them? That was a question I had as well. Admittedly, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know. But that was something I was thinking about too. Like, does it count that these are ex-Twitch employees that are coming forward? I'm very curious about that, but I don't have the answers, unfortunately. If anybody happens to be a lawyer or know someone who's a lawyer, send this clip to them, and maybe we can get an answer for that. But I don't know.
Put out a tweet? He literally just put out a tweet with no evidence, and everybody believed him. Everybody. Tim Attack Man, Nick Merckx, Dr. Lupo, you know...
Well, the funny thing is, you know, especially including the people he's mentioning here, they were skeptical until this is where this all falls apart. Okay. I said this in my previous video on the situation, and I'll say it again here. This is where this all falls apart. There were a lot of skeptics about whether or not this was legitimate or not. And what legitimized it for them is Doc admitted it. The moment he owned up to it on Twitter, because he probably could have like wiggled his way past this and try and like argued around it to a point that like it just kind of blew over and nobody really cared all that much for it in a week or two. He probably could have done that, but he fucked himself the moment he admitted it in a tweet. The moment he admitted it in a tweet, it was over for him. That was it.
XQC, all those people, all those big time streamers, they all believe this Cody Connors guy who just puts out a cryptic tweet with no evidence. And people are criticizing DrDisrespect and not believing his story, even though he literally went through arbitration and laid out the...
If I remember correctly, I think it was that the NDA only applied for 4 years, which is why he waited until his NDA expired to tweet about it. I've heard theories about that, and apparently like that's pretty common for like NDAs to have like a 4-year time frame or something like that. I haven't seen in my time looking into this any official confirmation that that was the case for this particular NDA. But I mean, it's definitely possible. It probably does go against it because at the time they worked for Twitch, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Whole story about what happened on Friday's stream, but you have idiots, like literal idiots, like Dr. Lupo saying, "Oh, well, he wanted to solicit a minor for sex. Hey, are you brain dead? Hello?" Like, are you brain dead, Dr. Lupo? Did you not hear what he said? And you're gonna choose to believe this ex-Twitch employee and his accusations when this ex-Twitch employee has no evidence?
This is one of those like situations where like even if you're skeptical as to whether or not he's guilty or innocent, you're kind of like in the middle somewhere. This is one of those situations where it's best to just not say anything. Okay? Because then you end up looking like this guy, which, you know, considering a lot of the, you know, stereotypes about, you know, ministers of the church and, you know, certain scandals that have happened in the past in that regard, it's probably not the best look to be the streamer that's known for preaching to kids in Fortnite and also be the guy who's defending an alleged pedophile. Probably not a great look.
Didn't even post any evidence. He just tweeted. And you brain dead people are just believing this Cody guy. And I said from the start, the messages were probably joking around and bantering, and that people were taking the word inappropriate and running with it. And like saying that means sexual stuff in nature. Inappropriate, instantly a girl, instantly sexual stuff in nature, instantly definitely a minor, like a 12-year-old, 13, whatever. That's gross. Like they all just jumped to conclusions, just like DrDisrespect literally said on Friday. And I've been saying that everybody's looking at the word inappropriate and then just running with that.
It's like I said, even if it's not necessarily like sexual, the fact that it was inappropriate alone is bad enough in itself. I don't know what else inappropriate would mean in regards to having conversations with a child other than sexual. But I suppose there are other things you could be talking about with a child that would be inappropriate that aren't necessarily sexual. And even if that were the case, that's still bad. That's still fucking bad. Probably still shouldn't banter with a child in private. Oh, 100%. Abso-fucking-lutely.
That automatically means sexual content in nature. And DrDisrespect is saying it wasn't none of that. This Cody Connors guy wasn't even involved in anything. He's a liar. Here's what really happened based on the Twitch arbitration and the court documents. Yada, yada, yada. And nobody...
But Doc didn't show that. That's the interesting thing about this, okay? Again, playing kind of devil's advocate for a second and saying, okay, you know, maybe Doc is innocent. Maybe he's got some stuff to prove that he's claiming that, you know, he went through all this arbitration and through the discovery process. He found out a lot of things that happened behind the scenes and stuff. And he's making all these claims of things that he's seen for himself that happened. Why not show some of that stuff? Why not show us some of the discovery documents that show, hey, this is the timeline of events. This is what happened. You don't even necessarily have to. I know a lot of people are demanding to see the messages themselves. You don't even have to show the messages themselves. Show the documents that you have that show the timeline of events, that show proof of that. That alone would be enough to like say, oh, okay, well, maybe Doc's telling the truth here. But he won't do it. And you have to ask yourself, if you have any level of like thinking skills, you have to ask yourself, why? Why won't he show that stuff? I think the only reason he's able to make the statements he's making is because he knows that Twitch, it's not in Twitch's best interest to respond. You know, so he can potentially completely fabricate his response to the situation and Twitch isn't going to respond. They're not going to check him on it because it's not in their business interests to do so. That's the only reason why he's able to come out the way that he is. But think about that for a second. Why is he claiming he has all this proof to back up his side of things, but he won't show it to anyone? Why? Something to think about.
He is believing DrDisrespect, I mean, his fans, but all these big streamers are like, oh yeah, right.
If those asking me, it wouldn't be terribly hard to get them via. Well, the thing is, they wouldn't be on Pacer because the whole situation ended up being settled. It was settled out of court, so Pacer wouldn't have any of that information.
I can't believe he wanted to get with the minor, blah blah blah. And
they were able to settle before it even resulted in like actual legal filings. So that's why like a lot of people, when he was saying he was suing Twitch or whatever, they're like, why haven't we seen any court documents filed or anything? That's why it never got that far. They settled before it got that far.
You're all believing this dude's tweet with no evidence. Does not anybody see the problem with this? DrDisrespect has all this stuff. He went to court. He's laying it all out on the stream. Exactly what happened.
Yeah, that's like the most common like misunderstanding about the situation is it never actually like went to court per se. They were able to settle out of court before it made it that far.
My ex-Twitch partner manager was directly involved in getting me banned after I wanted to get him removed from my team for not helping me throughout the years for this Twitch contract that I signed. Twitch eternally said that these messages were not sexting a minor and that they were not illegal and no wrongdoing happened. This ex-Twitch partner manager goes ahead behind everybody's back and gives it to some legal law enforcement.
Ruben in the chat says, you don't understand, Tippy. It's typically 4D chess move to pretend to be a diddler to destroy your enemies. That's definitely not something I would understand for sure. I would never pretend to be a diddler because that just seems absolutely insane. You wouldn't catch me dead admitting to some shit like that, innocent or guilty, because like that's insanity. But yet that's exactly what DrDisrespect did. He was being accused of very serious shit on social media and he admitted it. He admitted it. All this falls apart because of that, because he admitted it. It's that simple.
Arbitration dude for Twitch, and within an hour of him doing that, they decided to ban him without talking to DrDisrespect or without talking to the quote-unquote alleged victim, and everybody's just not going to believe DrDisrespect. They're just going to believe Cody Connors from a tweet with no evidence, and everybody's like, but he admitted it. But he admitted it. No, again, he did not. He said these messages were borderline. They were leaning in the direction of being inappropriate. He didn't admit to say, he didn't say, oh yeah, I did that. Oh yeah, I did this. He said, I had conversations.
Pieface will need help because he's defending a disgusting man. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, you look at like a lot of the most noteworthy figures in the streaming space, and they've all said the same thing. Like, fuck that shit, I'm out. There were people like Nick Merckx, for example, who were close friends with the doc. And even they have the sense to say, yeah, nope, no thank you. I'm backing out of that one. Rightfully so. As much as I can't stand Nick Merckx and his transphobic fucking ass, he was smart in that regard. This guy is fucking creeping on kids in the DMs. No, thank you. I don't fuck with that guy.
With somebody 7 years ago that would lean in the direction of being inappropriate. Did he say, I admitted?
Okay, chat. I'm just calling it now. This guy, this is fucking cope.
You are coping and seeing.
This is clearly just an attempt to get attention. I'm going to blindly defend the doc in hopes that this will get some attention my way. And if that's the goal, it doesn't seem to be working all that well. He got 3,000 views on this video. That's all you managed by trying to clearly chase clout?
I fucking hate everyone.
All right, I don't want to watch any more of this, but there is a section of this video where he starts like arguing with people in game about the situation. So let's take a look at that.
Buddy, I honestly think everybody who is all like, oh, he's defending DrDisrespect. I think if you think that that Dr. Disrespect did what Cody said.
So it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to go on a video and defend the doc and make yourself look really stupid that way. Now you're going into a video game that's probably being played by children, and you're going to defend an alleged pedophile even more in video game. All right, buddy, your funeral.
As he did, you're an idiot. Like, you are brain dead. You are literally believing a cryptic tweet some employee said instead of believing the guy who actually went through it all.
It's a cryptic tweet in conjunction with the guy admitting it on his Twitter. He admitted it.
Oh yeah, he's guilty. I believe Cody Connors, bro. And you're only believing him, and you're only accepting that because you don't like Dr. Disrespect. Period. That's the only reason. Because you hate him. You do not like him. That's the only reason. You're believing some cryptic tweet that some dude did over the explanation that Dr. Disrespect gave on Friday. You guys hear about the whole Dr. Disrespect thing?
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, his stream on Friday. Did you guys happen to catch it? Okay.
No.
Well, he basically said what Cody Connors said was a complete lie, and Twitch eternally said that he didn't do what he said. And
oh, I seen that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was his live. I seen a YouTube short of it.
Oh yeah, that was his live. Yeah.
Oh god. Yeah, I did see that particular conversation you're talking about. He basically was saying that they fucking eternally admitted that there was no child sex fucking case or something like that, and that it was all a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah. Do you believe that, or do you side with Doc, or do you side with Cody Connors? You don't believe that? Why not?
He's like shocked to see that there aren't people who are buying Doc's story. Like, that's shocking to him. Like, oh dear Lord, like you don't believe Dr. Disrespect would lie about being inappropriate with minors and DMs? Are you kidding?
Well, he already admitted, like literally straight out in the beginning. He admitted.
I got a question. I got a question for you. What he said exactly wasn't him admitting to it at all. What he said was, I had conversations that would sometime lean in the direction of being inappropriate. He didn't say they were inappropriate.
I mean, should I really be this surprised that this guy doesn't get it? I mean, let me remind you, this is the guy who got banned on Twitch for telling a child in Fortnite, a Muslim child in Fortnite, that they were going to go to hell for being Muslim. And this is the same guy who was on live stream in Fortnite talking to kids about genitals because he was spewing anti-trans bullshit. Okay? So, like, should I really be surprised that this guy doesn't get it? No.
They would lean in the direction of being inappropriate. And inappropriate doesn't mean sexting. Inappropriate can mean lots of different things. So why do you think
Show says I need a retard break. You know what? I agree with you on that one.
Hold on. Retard break. I need a retard break. Give me a retard break for like 2 fucking minutes, okay? I can't keep listening to fucking retards.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. God have mercy on your soul.
Oh my God.
you assume that's what it meant, and why do you say he admitted it when he said they were leaning the direction of it?
I think he knows that what he said did cross the line. I'm not saying that
according
he was
to Twitch, it did not, though.
A minor. Well, he got banned from every platform that he had.
That's not true at all. He got banned.
Demonetized.
He didn't get banned from YouTube. He got banned from Twitch.
I mean, they demonetized him. They deemed that there was a reason worthy of taking his monetization away. So they may not have completely banned him from the platform, which I question why that decision was made. If you're going to demonetize him, why not ban him as well, considering what he's being accused of? But they demonetized him. He's lost basically any opportunity that he had to make money off of his content in terms of like YouTube. Like all he has left is Streamlabs, just Streamlabs donations.
And YouTube only
Yeah,
demonetized him
his
because of
YouTube
the allegations, not because they're. Yeah, but sponsorships will leave you just because of allegations, not even if they're true or false.
True that.
So
True
can we use
honestly,
logic here? I mean, like he didn't admit to it. He just said they would lean in the direction of being inappropriate.
Still Shady says him and Chris Tyson are sick people. Yeah, the Ava Chris Tyson situation was like genuinely disappointing because obviously Ava Chris Tyson, when they came out, was somebody who was very inspirational to, you know, a lot of trans people. It was, you know, someone that, you know, wanted to, like a lot of people looked up to them and whatnot. And so for things to play out the way that they did with Ava Chris Tyson, yeah, it's genuinely disappointing. I obviously 100% disavow everything that came out about Ava Chris Tyson later. That shit sucks. They were somebody who, when people were being transphobic to them in the past, I was defensive of them because it felt like the right thing to do. But as more information came out later, like, no, you can't. There's no defending that shit. The debate is on now. Are you sure? Let me double check that. 1 second. Let me double check that. I know that they start the stream usually like an hour before, but is the actual debate live right now? Because my understanding is it's not supposed to be till 9 Eastern. ABC Live. So we have a little less than an hour left before it goes live. Yeah, it's not live yet. It's not. Let me double check. What's this? Yeah, it's not live yet. They're just doing pre-show commentary right now. So we'll come back to it. But thank you for the heads up. When Ava Chris Tyson thing came out, my trans friend Mia was completely heartbroken. I spent 2.5 hours on the phone call with her trying to calm her down because of the betrayal. Yeah, the Ava Chris Tyson stuff was really fucked. And no one should be defending them for very obvious reasons at this point. It was one thing, like, understandable why a lot of people came to the defense of them initially, because they were facing genuinely transphobic attacks. But as more information came out, like, yeah, there's no defending that. Anyway, let's continue with this.
And
yeah, that's where the violation comes in. You have young kids that come in this game. You should not be leaning, especially as a streamer or a model figure like he is, as far as like people look up to him, millions. He should not be leaning towards inappropriate ever. He should be doing nothing but promoting outstanding behavior and good work ethic and respect of women.
I mean, I think you're expecting a bit much. Wait, did he say? Hold on, did that guy say respect of women? Because that's really funny coming from the doc.
Behavior and good work ethic and respect of women.
Yeah, my guy, his name is literally DrDisrespect. Like, I think you're expecting a bit much from a guy with the name DrDisrespect.
And the right treatment of children, and the right and safety of all people.
Hey, Mortar.
Like, that's the kind of things he should be doing.
Mortar.
Not no fucking talking all dirty and crazy.
It was a whisper message between somebody on Twitch. And Twitch.
But he does that. It's not
and
just
Twitch
then. He
and
talks
Twitch
like that does stuff like that all the time.
See, you don't care. You just don't like him. That's why. You don't care about the truth.
No, I actually,
he's getting like legitimately triggered because this guy won't buy into. Okay, anyway, I think we've seen enough here. It's insane to me that anybody is going as far as they are to defend the doc. Like, I get his brain dead fans defending him. There's nothing you're going to say to convince them. They just, that's their guy and they're going to defend him no matter what. But like, to put your reputation on the line, somebody who already has a pretty bad reputation like DrWitnesser does, to put your reputation on the line to defend someone who not only was accused of really heinous shit, but also admitted to engaging in really heinous shit. I don't know, my guy. It sounds like you're like losing your fucking marbles here. I'm just saying.